So, why does someone who gets hired internally end up earning more than someone who's been loyal to the system and stayed at the company for a long time? This isn't a coincidence, it's something called salary compression. Unfortunately, a lot of companies follow this system, and it makes the loyalty of employees who've been there for 3 or 4 years actually count as a loss. This isn't just a theoretical idea, it's a concept called salary compression, which is when a new employee is hired at a higher salary than an existing employee who's been there for over a year with the same level of experience. In fact, most companies have something like this. The hiring budget is unfortunately always bigger than the budget for retaining employees. That is the so-called retention budget. If this isn't clear to you, there's something called the hiring budget is set at the beginning of each year, or depending on the company or country, a specific budget is allocated for hiring. We use it to hire a certain number of employees for a set amount. So there is a clear budget for this matter set with the CTO, the CEO, or the company owners you work with. As for the retention policy, or unfortunately the retention budget, meaning how many employees do I want to keep and how many might ask to leave next year. Unfortunately, most companies or almost all companies don't have this kind of budget except in very rare cases. As a result, you'll find an employee who's been stable for just 3 or 4 months. Keeping track of the details corrects mistakes and also informs new people. And in the end, he gets an annual raise that in most companies doesn't exceed 10%, while right next to him, there's a newly hired employee earning 30% or sometimes even 40% more than his salary. And of course, this is simply because that's the current market rate. So, in the end, the message these companies are sending to the loyal employee who stays and doesn't want to leave is as long as you stay put, you'll remain in the same place. If you want to get what you deserve, resign and go to another company so you can be treated like a new employee. The new employee who gets a big salary. What's strange is that there are many companies that hold meetings and sit down with us and they ask, why do people leave? Why don't people stay? Why did this person come, stay for a year, and then leave? They start to investigate, but they have no idea. The main reason is that you have a budget to hire a new employee, but unfortunately you don't have a budget to keep that employee in the company for 1, 2, or 3 years. And that's what created a wave called job hoppers all over the world. Not because people like to jump from job to job. No one wants to stay at a company and then start looking for another job every few months. Even the companies themselves are no longer fair. They reward the people who are new and give them higher salaries than those who have been there for a while because that's it. That's the market rate or the market price. At the present time, let's go back and ask why we're losing talent, the good people I have in the company, while new qualified people are coming in. They don't stay and they don't last for many years. Why do we spend time and money hiring new people instead of thinking about keeping the ones who actually want to stay? Unfortunately, with the way we're handling things, we're not keeping the people who really want to stay. They end up leaving, and the answer is clear. The employee who built the place, started gaining experience, and understands the company's system is now getting paid less than the colleague next to them, and even less than someone who was just hired a month ago who's making 30 or 40% more.